Therapy dudes, take away your stress, put you in a good mood. If you had them over, they would eat up all your food. It's time for therapy dudes.
Well, hello, hello. We are the
Oh.
therapy dudes. That's Andre laughing.
Are
I'm
we going to take away
kidding.
their stress and put them in a good mood today? Is that what's happening?
Yes, and
Okay.
since I love playing my soundboard, there's very rare occasions where I can get to play this one. So here goes.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody.
Oh,
Ooh.
that warms my heart immediately. We're Therapy Dudes, sponsored by Boulder Psychological Services. Check out their website. It's got some great resources for all your therapy needs. Andre, I think I'm going to need to check out the website today and get my therapy needs met. I'm
I think so.
in a funk. I'm in a
You are
funk.
definitely in a funk. You've already called me stupid. I'm, I'm kidding.
Did I actually do that?
No, you didn't. He didn't do that. Really, he didn't. Uh, I could tell you're in a funk. Do you want to tell everyone why?
Sure. I think, the precipitating thing started yesterday. And yesterday was a great day. Yesterday, I went to Waterworld. I had a really good time, but my like achy ancient body doing all day at Waterworld.
You're not that old.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, you didn't even take a shot this time. I'm gonna give
I
you
can't.
5 stars on our star meter for not taking a shot. Um, because that was good. That was good discretion. But it's like you're running around, you're going down these rides that are just kind of, pushing you around. And
Right.
I mean, I'm certainly not young. I think I saw like one person there older than me the entire time. Most of the people are like middle and high schoolers, not gonna lie.
Well,
Uh,
there's probably parents there too, watching their
yes, there's
kids.
a handful of
Yes.
parents,
Yes.
all younger than me. Uh, I I was certainly one of the only parents on rides,
Okay.
and I was with my two youngest kiddos. We had a great time. I mean, it was
Good.
fun, but some of the rides you have to like get this giant family inner tube up to the top of the hill,
Oh.
and they were just, they were slowing me down trying to get the tube up, so I would just kind of roll it uphill on its side solo, which was, a long way. You got to go the whole hill to the top of the ride, and I did that 7 or 8 times, and then we went in the wave pool and I got smacked around a bunch of times. This is all just wimpy prelude to my real issues. But, I got sunburned. I got home. I was just like, oh man, I am cooked. And
Yeah.
just like was totally not functional. And woke up this morning and got a whiff of like our our mold problem, which I thought was getting better, has like actually gotten to a new low point. So it took several days to identify that the bathtub on the second floor was leaking down into the crawl space in the basement. And then we put a bunch of fans in, stopped using the bathtub. Until this morning, I thought it was gradually the scent was getting better, better, better. And then got up this morning and it's just everywhere in the house now smells like mold.
Oh no.
Um, that just put me in a bit of a head spin where, and this is something that I think, um, I've got to work on because I'll just jump from issue to issue that are the like stressful
Like need to
concern
get these
issues.
done type
Right.
issues.
Like I
Right.
go from there to like, why don't my kids ever clean up their rooms? And
Oh yeah.
why am I always the one that has to do the dishes? And why should they, be trying to get me to I mean, they're not trying to get me to do anything. They're just not, they're not pulling their weight. They're not pulling their weight.
Fair.
That's my cough from being under the house and like the dusty, moldy conditions,
Are you wearing a mask?
testing the moisture meter. I should have been wearing a mask down there. I have a really nice mask that I should have put on this morning.
Bro,
I'll do
you
that next time I'm down
okay. Well, now you got to go to the doctor.
there. I'm not going to the doctor.
You got like a mold cough and like
Nah, it's just like little dust and stuff.
oh Jesus.
I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But it just makes me get to the point of like, all right, why isn't my 18-year-old getting a job and proving that he's ready to go to college? Why isn't my 20-year-old getting the chicken out of the garage? The 14-year-old, well, she's 15 now. Really no complaints. She's the one that's got it in order. She knows it. Everybody knows it. Um, the 13-year-old, whew, he hasn't even done boot camp properly this entire
Oh,
summer. So I was ready today to just start the day by pulling out the internet router cord, which I haven't done in a while, just to like be like, nobody moves until this whole place is clean. And then I realized, mostly I gotta go down under the house and figure out if there's like a new leak that's beyond the bathtub,
oh,
which
no.
I could not find, but there's definitely a new smell that.
Yeah, you seem really down. You just like everything you're saying is making me depressed. So,
Well, do you know what?
what?
I am having a very bad day.
Okay.
Yeah, I realize that. Yeah. And it's kind of like bleeding into everything. I think that's how a lot of people operate. Like something bad is happening and then everything kind of bleeds into that feels kind of similar. And I think you feel like it's unfair that this is happening. And it makes
Um,
you feel like everything with your kids is also unfair because that's actually unfair as well.
I don't think it's unfair on like a global level, right? Like
Right.
I my problems are good problems to have.
There's
The
still problems.
the part where I feel unfair is just in the nuclear family, right?
Yeah.
That like, I'm doing all of this stuff and so that my kids can just have a phone and play on their phone all day. Um, and not clean up anything. And then ask me why there aren't any like clean dishes. And I do not respond well when I get asked those questions, I have to say, but it's
You're like, this is your household too. You got to
right.
clean.
So, it's no surprise that here we are like 3 weeks into the summer
Hmm.
and boot camp is falling apart.
Yeah, I think you predicted that one.
We had a couple of good runs on boot camp. The garage is in order. Some yard work happened. There's probably something else, but I can't off the top of my head think of it. Maybe they did the dishes once, but boot camp's falling apart. I need to do a revolution on boot camp or else just, submit and wave the
I
white
think I
flag.
think your expectations need to go down a little. I think you're already breaking under all the pressure.
I mean, the only expectation is that for 2.5 hours a day, they're doing something productive instead of being on a screen.
That is a lot.
That's not a lot.
I disagree. I think kids don't have that attention span these days.
Okay, that's because you are technically one of those kids. So you're on your screen the whole time.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm in rare form. My teeth are bare today. I apologize.
I like it. I like it.
Yes. Um, and
I do a
because
lot
of
of
that,
cleaning.
you're grateful when your kids are on the screen because it means you can go on your screen and not feel guilty. Because
Oh God, he's so right. He's he's being honest. I can't even deny it. Well, I also work out. I work. I clean. Spotless.
and I mean you're very devoted to your children. Like, let's be honest. I need to step back and you know not be so, single-minded in my pursuit of just destroying everything around me in my mind.
That's okay. I mean, you're upset. Here's what I was thinking. As you're talking about and you're sharing your difficulties with the audience, how would you work with that with the client? What would you do?
Right. So I think part of the challenge is that there's two levels I mean, there's probably multiple, but I'm going to break it down into sort of like self-management, emotional management, right? Just managing like myself and my mind. And then there's actually like addressing the problem.
Yeah.
And in both domains, I'm not doing a very good job, right? In terms of the self-management, I'll give myself credit for when I like talked to Rachel this morning, my wife. I was like, hey, just a report, and none of this is your fault. And I was actually doing it in kind of like this tone right now. I wasn't like, none of this is your fault, right? I didn't have and she was like, all right, thank you for letting me know what's going on. Like,
Wow.
and I let my 13-year-old who was up know that like I'm on a rampage and I'm not in a good mood. And, today's the day that you're going to actually need to get your room cleaned up.
Oh.
And he was like, well, actually, I did clean my room. And that to me was like an instigation
Oh.
because I know his version of cleaning his room is like shoving stuff
Under the
into
bed.
drawers and right. And so I was just like, well, I don't think I can address that now in a way.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll
can
go
see
up
that.
there in a little bit and I'll show you what I'm actually looking for. And eventually we did go up and do that before I went under the house. And so his room is actually in order. And I did some functional stuff on, testing the moisture levels in various different parts of the house. But ultimately, I have a stupid list of things that need to be done around like sealing the bathroom floor with sealant in case it's leaking through cracks there in the shower area,
Mm.
staining wood on high parts of my house that I can't reach that are in the exterior of the house, mold remediation, getting the children passports and demoing the chicken coop, which I can't because we still have a chicken in the garage. So that
You
list
guys
is
have plans for dinner? Because we
funny.
can
My kids make their own dinner.
we could just, we can finally put that chicken to use.
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
I'm kidding. Okay.
The chicken. Wow, you're gonna get me started here. But the chicken has a lice problem, so
Oh, don't eat that chicken.
it
Don't
needs
eat
to
that.
be
That's gross.
deloused and
Oh,
demited. And my daughter has occasionally tended to that because it's her chicken. She's 20, she should be able to do this, and she does. She just does it very sporadically. So
okay.
we've basically been waiting for her to clean off the oil on the chicken because the oil came from the spray to delouse the chicken. And then the oil was picking up dirt. And so the chicken had dead, dirty louse bugs
Oh
stuck
my
to it.
God. Don't eat that chicken. I'm so
Chicken.
sorry.
Right. But before we can adopt the chicken away, it has to be like,
Presentable.
cleaned up and making sure that it doesn't have lice to spread to the flock that it's going to join.
Sure.
And it's in the garage because the weasel was killing the other chickens, and the weasel gets into the coop because weasels can get into things the size of a quarter, and the coop wasn't built for that.
Ugh.
Some people say there's no weasels in Colorado.
You're like, there
I
are.
beg to differ. I beg to differ. I I have some data.
You have some evidence. Uh, okay. So,
So I think another fundamental problem for me is that like the mold thing, I
hmm,
just have to step up and recognize that it's going to cost like a few $1,000s to get a mold remediator in here to go into the walls and hopefully figure out how to get like in the crawl space in a weird place and not have to do major like removal of wood foundational studs and things.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, it's just a messy place to get into. I think I just need to accept that it might be a um, home insurance claim.
Oh,
And
there we go.
right. But we also had a home insurance claim during the Marshall fires. So two claims, and they tend to boot you off their insurance. So if I do a second one, see, this is just how my
All
mind,
the thought, yeah.
right? I'll just like spin out and just get it, and then I'll be like, and who the fuck left their socks on the floor? Which is the
Oh,
the internal self-management emotional state problem.
I knew there was something up last week when I was playing basketball against you and your team, and we were doing really well. Dan had a great team. I had a great team. Um, Dan's team was lousy cheaters, and they ended up winning because some dude completely switched pivot feet and traveled to get an open shot. And we gave them the win, but we kindly suggested, that what he did was a completely illegal move. And before I knew it, it was my teammate who said it, and I saw it. I was right there, and I said, "Yeah, that's true what he's saying." Before I knew it, this guy on their team was up in my face saying, "That is not true." And another guy jumped up to my face, and another guy, and the third guy was Dan. I couldn't believe it. I looked over at you, and you were like, "It is not true." But you know what? I actually think you were playing with me. I think it was funny for you. But the second guy, I wanted to slap him. I was like, "Dude, shut up."
Yeah.
Like he was like, this guy's been a coach for 30 years. And I was like, "Oh, so does that mean that the rules of basketball have changed for him?" I just didn't want to argue, but I could tell though that there was like frustration in you last week. And I think it was around the mold stuff. I think it's just you've been thinking about this all month.
Yeah, the mole has been an increasing problem that I thought was getting better, but now it's definitely worse. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that day in question, I didn't even see the play. I was just messing with you
Oh,
because
I knew you were because I saw that
it'd be
half
funny to
smile.
just pile on.
I couldn't even take you serious because I wanted to be upset about what the other guy was doing. So when you came up to my face and started doing it, I was like, "Oh my God." It's like I need to be angry right now, Dan. You let me be angry.
Um,
Um,
no, that game, I actually thought that I handled myself well that day because if that was Tuesday, right? If you're talking about Tuesday, that was
yeah.
when um like the first game that we played you guys, you beat us 15-0 because you had a really stacked team and we had a bunch of like scrubs like me. And
No, no, not this Tuesday, 2 weeks ago.
oh, two, okay. Okay.
Remember, you had a really good team, and we had a really good team. That's when Doug
Yes,
showed
that
up
was a
for the first
different,
time.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm conflating the two. So yeah, I was just messing that day. But on Tuesday, even though it was like, why are we even like playing these games when
That's what I felt.
one team is super stacked? We need to just
That's
be
what I felt.
switching up the teams. And
That same guy that was arguing with me about the play that said that the dude was a coach for 30 years and he knows what he's talking about. He's the one that wouldn't let me switch the teams. He was on my team this time. And I was like,
um,
"Dude, we need to switch the teams." He's like, "No, we got to win all day today."
we gotta win.
And
Yeah.
I was like, "This isn't fun."
No, that's why I left early. I was like,
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
blame
like
you.
say I'm not in a bad mood, but I'm gonna get in a bad mood if I keep like, just going out there and playing under these circumstances. So
I
I'll
didn't
I'll
blame
just
you. Yeah,
pace
totally.
myself. I'll get back home and work on the mold problem and then go from there.
Back to paradise. Okay. Yeah.
So
Well,
I mean, we're just talking nonsense today. I feel like
yeah, we didn't have a topic.
this is probably
Dan's been
not
overwhelmed.
therapeutic to anybody. Should we somehow dial it in so that in part two of today's podcast, Andre fixes me?
Oh, okay. I've never been able to. You are just such a hard person to work with. I'm kidding.
You're a therapist. You got to figure it out.
All right, let's figure
All
it
right.
out next session.
The exciting conclusion coming next. If you listen this far, thanks so much.
Thanks for
Subscribe and
helping.
comment.
Therapy dudes, take away your stress, put you in a good mood. If you had them over, they would eat up all your food. It's time for therapy dudes. Therapy dudes, take away your stress, put you in a good mood. Listen to them anytime you're coming unglued. Time for
Wow, now I'm not even going to be able to find the button to press stop. Here we go.